I personally have reached out at least half a dozen times over 311. I've reached out at least a few times over email. I have called, I have texted.
After years of contacting the city with concerns about the large willow oaks here in the Rosedale neighborhood of the city's north side, Grady Hart, who is also the president of the Rosedale Civic Association, reached his breaking point last Tuesday when two more trees came crashing down, one of them into his neighbor's house right across the street.
It feels like every time a storm comes through, the city has really just decided to play Russian roulette with our safety.
Hart says he wants Richmond to evaluate every city tree in the neighborhood for safety and then commit to removing any trees likely to fall on people's houses.
We need the city to start taking this seriously before someone is injured or killed.
Do you believe that there is an issue in this neighborhood with these trees?
I think we have concerns within every neighborhood of the city of Richmond with regards to trees, and not just the city of Richmond, but every urban environment throughout our country.
We took Hart and his neighbors' concerns to the head of public works in the city, Bobby Vincent. He told me the city owns 77,000 trees and employs 4 arborists who assess them.
We always find the funding. We have ample enough budget in order to be able to take care of an immediate danger. What we don't have a budget for, nor does any government, to be able to take care of absolutely everything that anybody thinks might be a danger.
Vincent said the Rosedale neighborhood currently has about 200 trees, and over the past 5 years, DPW has removed about 28 trees there and pruned about 9. He said there are still trees there that need attention. I mean, are you willing to say to the people that live in that area that these trees are safe that are there?
I would like to think that we don't know of a tree that is going to fall down if the wind is above 20 miles per hour. But if we have a storm and we have pockets of wind that can be greater than that, at that point in time, we can't control that. That's something that Mother Nature controls.
The residents over there are looking at this and they do not think that these trees are safe. So isn't there more that can be done to try to prevent these trees from falling into people's houses or to prevent these limbs from falling onto people's cars?
Those, the only thing that you can do to prevent a tree from falling on your house is not to have a tree there. And that's unacceptable, obviously, within the city of Richmond or within any municipality.
Vincent says protecting and growing the city's tree canopy is vital to the health of the city. But decades ago, the city planted trees that were not necessarily the right tree for the right place.
But that doesn't mean that we can go through and just remove all of the trees that weren't planted properly. Because if we did that, we would have a barren land, and we would not be able to have the affordability to replant all of the trees that may have not been planted wise.
We asked Vincent if work requests existed for the 2 trees in Rosedale before they fell. He said neither was marked as being in failing condition, but the city did have work requests for one of them. He was unable to share when that request dated back to during the interview, but said he would provide that information for us soon. Vincent said his biggest worry are the 500,000 trees that sit on private property where they are not being properly assessed or maintained because folks cannot afford it. He also said that if a private or a city-owned tree falls on your house, you are financially responsible. In Richmond, I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.